busy 2 weeks. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and we're going to completely drop Spotify. So we'll no longer have stuff on Spotify. Um, Spotify is just way too complicated with getting stuff uploaded. So our stuff will now be on YouTube and Twitch. Um, if you're looking for like full episode videos on YouTube, you can check the playlists, and then on YouTube you can look at our past live streams as well. So that's where full length stuff will be from now on. Anything you would like to say, Dad, after 2 weeks?
No, we've missed you. As Jeremiah said, it's been a little busy around here. Been doing some traveling and different things for school, and Jeremiah is now involved in his high school basketball team. So that's taken up a lot of time, and we've kind of had to get into a routine. So we appreciate your patience and always appreciate your support. So if you watch us, we appreciate you. We appreciate that. And please make sure you share and just know that this is a father and son who both love sports and enjoy talking about things that they love. So once again, thank you so much for your patience. We are glad to be back after just some traveling ourselves, some vacation time, some time with family, and then again getting used to the schedule with Jeremiah and his involvement in the high school basketball team. So Jeremiah, what's our rundown for today?
We're going to start off with NCAA football, move on to NCAA basketball, the NFL, and then to end off the night, a quick little recap for the NBA. A lot of stuff has happened in the sports world over the past 2 weeks. So ready to get started on
Yep.
at least the rundown.
Here's my contribution to the NBA content. Shea Gilgis Alexander is good.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to Kentucky.
The scores are the new rankings for.
Um, Let me do an audible. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think the biggest story in college football right now is outside of this being essentially championship week, where conference championships will happen this coming weekend. We now have a clear picture of what teams are going to be involved in their respective conference champions. But Jeremiah, what is your thought on the college football coaching carousel? I wrote down some things here, new faces in new places, but what is this? What is this doing for the sport? I mean, here we are right before the playoff, right before bowl season. We're in the postseason now. As I mentioned, this weekend is championship games for each respective conference. So, what are your thoughts on all these changes? It's almost kind of like you're a big Tennessee Vol, me a big Kentucky fan, particularly in basketball. It's almost like Rick Barnes leaving Tennessee in the beginning of March Madness, Mark Pope going somewhere, right before conference championships and right before March Madness begins. So, what is your thought on this college football coaching carousel? New faces in new places.
I think it kind of shows how tough it is to coach in places like the in conferences like the SEC and the Big Ten, because both of them have had a lot of guys be fired. Um, like James Franklin, for example, he went from Penn State down to Virginia Tech. All respect to both teams, but there's a bit of a level at the start of the season. There's a bit of a level between where Penn State is to where Virginia Tech is. I just think I just like it. Um, shows shows if these coaches are ready to move on or not. And just how crazy these schools can get over a coach.
Yeah, it's almost like the NIL and the transfer portal. has made patience more thin than ever. You have, Indiana, who may have struck lightning in a bottle, right, with Coach Signetti, and they are playing Ohio State for a Big Ten championship, this weekend with the number one overall seed on the line. Both teams will still be in the playoff. You have what's happened at Vanderbilt, seemingly very quick with, Pavia and their new coach. Just went blank on his name right now. Um, so I just think with the quick turnarounds, you can bring essentially a roster with you if you want to. You look at the New Mexico State team. It's essentially the Idaho team from a couple years ago, and it's almost like patients are growing very very thin. There's a lot of money on the line through NIL. There's a lot of everything on the line with the transfer portal, and that's only going to get amped up as these colleges, accept their new head coaches. What are these recruits going to do when they recruited to, let's say, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss? Now is it LSU? What does that mean for Ole Miss recruiting? It's a lot of things that are going on. Not to mention, we'll get to this in a minute. You have Sharon Moore, who just lost he and his Wolverines to Ohio for the first time, and they're already calling for his head. Get DeBoer and fire him. And goodness, folks, he just lost his first game to Ohio, a much better team than we were on Saturday. So, do you think that patience is an issue? Do you think NIL and transfer portal are playing into that because you can essentially build and pay for a roster? So, and then you have these teams like, who have not been traditional powerhouses like Vandy and Indiana, and how they've seemingly struck lightning in a bottle very quickly with one or two key players added. Do you think that has anything to do with what we're seeing with so many coaches either moving or being let go or whatever the case might be, the coaching carousel that we see right now?
I think it might be a little bit of both. Like the NIL, it probably killed the patience because before fans were like, okay, we got this 5-star freshman out of, I don't know, maybe other 5 stars will come in here and they'll see how it goes over the next, I don't know, 4 to 8 years. And now with NIL, where you can essentially buy a whole new roster, where you can take a whole roster from another school onto your school through NIL, I think it's killed the patience because looking at all these guys who have been fired, like Billy Napier and Brian Kelly, both of them only served 4 seasons at their schools, and it's also the school you choose as well. LSU, of course, Brian Kelly's just coming in after Ed Orgeron. LSU being that powerhouse for 20 years. Same thing with Florida, Tim Tebow and all of them through the 2010s. It was the same thing for Auburn. Hugh Freeze was there for only 3 seasons, but Auburn was a powerhouse in the 2010s. So I think the NIL's killed patience, and now fans are like, this should be easier than ever. We like for LSU, for example, you got Death Valley, you got one of the biggest stadiums in the country, and you got money, so it should. In Michigan, you got some of the biggest boosters in the world, and you got the Big House, you got the biggest stadium in North America. So fans are probably like, we should be able to have like some of the best kids in the country. I think that's why Michigan fans are probably losing patience on Sharon Moore and already calling for his head after Ohio. They're like, they're buying a roster. Why are we not doing that?
I think it's a great point, and I agree on all points and all fronts. So, Jerry, let me read through these if that's okay, and then just any thoughts you have. Top of the line, top of the list, I have you mentioned it. Virginia Tech hiring. I'll learn how to read in a minute. James Franklin as their next head coach. I think that's a win for both James Franklin and Virginia Tech, with all due respect to James Franklin. But there's not going to be anywhere near the pressure at Virginia Tech that there was at Penn State. I know Virginia Tech is a traditional, back 15, 20 years ago, if not that long, with Beamer and Beamer ball and all those things. So they have a tradition there that has kind of been lacking recently. You're in the ACC, so I think expectations will not be as high, again, with all due respect to Virginia Tech, to the ACC, and to James Franklin. But I think that's a good move for him. Let's just say he goes in there and wins 9, 10 games a year. For the most part, I think they're going to be okay with that. They don't want to stay there, but based on where they've been incrementally, I think that's a great move as far as pressure, as far as stress, going from the Big Ten to the ACC, and going from Penn State, where you're expected to beat Ohio State, to beat Michigan, to beat Oregon,
You're
to
expected
beat
to be a top 10 team in the
expected to be a
country.
top 10 team in the playoff every year, playoff consideration every year, Big Ten championship considerations for every year. A brutal schedule that literally goes from coast to coast now, all the way up to LA, and then over on the East Coast to Rutgers. You've got Beaver Stadium, you've got whiteouts, all those things. And now you go to Virginia Tech in a weaker conference, again, with all due respect. Expectations not as high, and being able to land a caliber of coach like Coach Franklin has got to just be a win-win for James Franklin and also for Hokie Nation.
hmm And then another one that I liked was Florida going out and getting Tulane's head coach.
Yeah,
I kind of like that move. Same thing with Auburn going out and getting South Florida. South Florida was hot at the start of the season, and I think with them getting these two coaches, because John Sermel from Tulane's been ranked in back-to-back years, and I think they're gonna make the playoffs as of right now with their current with like the where they are in their conference. So I think that's good for Auburn and Florida to kick off the rebuild. So what do you think
yeah,
on some of
I,
those moves?
I agree. I mean, you've got Summerall right now who has Tulane in the playoff, talks there with James Madison in North Texas. So that's amazing. I read on Instagram today that with this move with Summerall going to the Swamp, that Tulane may target. You ready for this? Ed Ogeron. They'll get him back in Louisiana. I think that is, if nothing else, it's incredibly intriguing. What do you think?
That'd be fun because remember during the search for after LSU fired Brian Kelly, Ed Orgeron was like, "I'm fine to come back and coach if all they gotta do is call me." But LSU never did. So if Tulane were to do that, that'd be insane.
I hope they do. I certainly hope they do.
It's fun to see the Green Wave good. Just their uniforms look
It
nice.
is. I think the biggest one, just to talk about the elephant in the room, Jeremiah, is LSU
hmm
hiring Lane Kiffin away from Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin was just kind of back and forth. His post game conference, or I say press conference, his post game comments after the game were, I just want to go be with the team. This is for them. I want to see them celebrate. Kind of maybe just trying to play poker face, and I get it. But making the decision to leave Old Miss and head down to Death Valley, Baton Rouge, to be the coach of the LSU Tigers, what he has done at Ole Miss needs to be celebrated.
hmm
They will be in the playoff this year. Ole Miss is the program will be. Ole Miss really was nothing to write home about until now. Now they were. Another a team wins or loses here. Auburn does the unthinkable and beats Alabama in the Iron Bowl. I think Ole Miss would have been right there playing for an SEC championship game or in the SEC championship game. Um, but it's interesting. But also, when you think about it, look at Lane's Kiffin. Look at his kind of oopsies, right? What he did at Tennessee.
hmm
Essentially leaving what in the middle of the night.
Have you seen what the Ole Miss fans were not happy?
No, they weren't. They were calling him colorful words.
hmm
Um, and
They were
I
using
get it.
certain
I
gestures.
get it, but lots of gestures. But be thankful what the guy brought. But that's kind of my point, Jared. What you
They
were
put Ole
saying is,
Miss on the map.
yeah,
All
O-
these recruits.
Oxford is now, in a desirable place. But you also look at his past, though, at the way he left Tennessee to go to USC, and USC leaves him on the runway. Then he goes to the Raiders. Is that right?
hmm
That doesn't go well. Then he leaves the Raiders and goes what to Saban's staff, right? Leaves Saban's staff, goes to FIU, then FIU to Ole Miss. Now Ole Miss to LSU. So he's had some interesting
I think
departures.
he's gonna stay here though, because I don't think he would leave LSU.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you do, LSU is. I mean, as far as desirable places, it's probably top 10. top
Mm-hmm.
15 at the worst.
And with how good he is on the offensive side of the ball,
Yeah,
and it's just going to be LSU's going to be back to the
he's
dominance.
going to turn them around. And again, like we talked about earlier with NIL, with transfer portal, he's going to be able to bring guys, maybe even from Ole Miss, but he's going to be able to bring guys, get a coaching staff together. He's got time. The part that I get, but I'm a little frustrated with, if I'm honest with you, is that the AD or whatever, it's not going to let him coach in the playoff. I get it. I see why. I understand why. But I just here's the only reason I'm upset. I just hope it's not because of pettiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hurt feelings. Only that man knows. But I think it'd have been cool if there was any kind of way possible. I know there's a lot you and I don't know, but I wish he'd at least have that opportunity. Or if he's not going to get that opportunity, I know we can't see behind the curtain fully, but just kind of let us know why, because you leave that up to interpretation, and I hope it's more than just pettiness. What do you think?
Yeah, hopefully it's just Wayne pettiness. That's all we want.
Jared, this is breaking. If you wanna help us with this, my brother, your Uncle B, is very excited about this. It is likely being reported, rumors being reported. Let's be clear. Given some references here, ESPN on three KSR,
Future
um,
report.
Bleacher Report now. Okay, that likely Will Stein, the offensive coordinator from Oregon, is likely to be the new head football coach for the Kentucky Wildcats. He has history. His family does with the University of Kentucky. I think his dad played there. I think he wanted to play there, but there was some issues between him and I think Coach Joker, where he ended up walking on. Will did it at Louisville instead. But this is according to a source named Brent Lax. Will Stein grew up a diehard Kentucky fan. Parents are alumni there, so that could be interesting. So, what are your thoughts on a big name like a Will Stein potentially coming to Lexington to coach the Cats?
Oregon fans probably ain't too happy about it,
No problem. That's true. One fan base is happy and one is not, right?
but that's really good for
It's
Kentucky.
a great hire if it
Because
happens.
that could bring recruits that are thinking about going to offensive recruits who are thinking about going to Oregon, but instead the coordinator goes to Kentucky, so they might go to Kentucky, SEC school. They could think about going to Kentucky or just staying at Oregon. Either way, but uh, it's a really good playbook that they're gonna get because of course Oregon has had some big wins this year. And Oregon's offense has looked good the past few years under Will Stein. So that's just really good for Kentucky. Can probably be more than a basketball school now with that. As a Tennessee fan, I hope they stay as a basketball school. But what do you think on that?
Yeah, I hope they can figure out the revenue share because I mean, basketball it is what drives Kentucky, right? But I would like to see maybe a little more allocation. And not to say that there's not been some, and there's been some upgrades to Kroger Field. And let's give credit to Mark Stoops. First and foremost, he had some 10-win seasons in a row and some big bowl game wins, and a streak of bowl games that was completely unfamiliar to Kentucky. Prior to maybe time's catching up with him, maybe willingness to change, whatever the reasons are. Sometimes things just don't work out, right? Sometimes, relationships go south, and it's time to get a fresh, voice in the program. So we'd be remiss if we didn't thank Coach Stoops for all he's done for that program, getting them where they are now. But this could be exciting. Again, these are just reports. These are rumors from ESPN on three, KSR, which is Kentucky Sports Radio, and Bleacher Report. So it looks like maybe Will Stein to Kentucky. Real quick, Jared, there was a great coach at Northwestern several years ago. Some allegations were made against him. Those things settled. But Michigan State getting a great head coach in the former Northwestern coach of Pat Fitzgerald.
They just really like playing with those risky coaches.
They do. Little brother, always trying to catch up to big brother. UCLA trying to go down the same road that Indiana went down with
I think
Kurt
that's a good
Signetti.
hire for UCLA, getting JMU's coach.
Yeah, got Bob Chesney out of James Madison. He'll be heading out to LA to coach the Bruins. Emiliama, how you pronounce his name? How you pronounce his name?
Oh, Nico Maliava.
Mama Alamiaba. My mouth ain't working right now. Nico Alamiaba. If he stays, you've got a quarterback.
He's not going to stay.
I don't think so either. But
He's going to take his brother with him.
James Madison now looking for a coach as Bob Chesney heads to UCLA. Ole Miss making an internal hire, promoting their defensive coordinator, Pete Golding. Pete Golding is their new head coach. Jerry, you've already talked about, John Summerall coming from Tulane, going to the Swamp. Arkansas found their guy in Memphis. Hiring Memphis' Ryan Silverfield.
I also like that move from Arkansas.
It's a good move. Memphis has been good, kind of been in and out of the top 25 this year.
I think they were for a little bit last year. At least made some noise closer to the end of the year.
Kind of back and forth, probably out of the playoff picture now, but for a while we're at least kind of a thought. And then you have Auburn going to USF and getting Alex Golish from the Bulls. Also Stanford hiring Tavita Pritchard. I had to look this guy up, but apparently he played quarterback for the Cardinal from 06 to 09, ahead of Andrew Luck. But here's what's interesting about Pritchard is he has 13 years of his coaching career were with his alma mater there in Stanford, and he joined the Washington Commanders staff in 2023. So has some NFL coaching that could be enticing at Stanford. Here's one that's interesting. Get your thoughts on this one. Northern Texas 11-1, very much in the playoff hunt. But Eric Morris is leaving North Texas to go to Oklahoma State. So any thoughts on that? Again, North Texas 11-1, outside shot at the playoffs. Eric Morris, who apparently has a great history of developing quarterbacks, headed to Oklahoma State.
Well, OSU might be quarterback school for a little bit, but that's a nice hire after getting rid of Mike Gundy. I think time was catching up to Gundy, and so they just got rid of him in time before things could probably get any worse.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it gets really bad if people come to your game only to swing their shirts in the air in a section.
Right.
So I think Oklahoma State at this point is just trying to get back on their feet. Of course, Mike Gundy still had an amazing career at Oklahoma State. So what do you think on that one?
Yeah, I mean, what he did at North Texas is incredible. I think he deserves a shot, to get into, I guess, the Big 12 is still where Oklahoma State is, and see what he can do. I'm happy for him. Again, North Texas 11-1. If you think what you could potentially do with some resources like an OSU might provide. Jared, one thing, man, if you had to say this one program, just get your thoughts, knocked it out of the park, A++. They got their guy set up for their future. Man, where are you going? Where are you going with that? Let me call the names out while you're thinking, because I just completely put you on the spot. Are you good?
I'd say Virginia Tech getting James Franklin.
Yeah, I that's the one I would pick up as well for the reasons we just mentioned a few minutes ago.
And then probably a close second, Auburn getting Alex Golish.
Yep, that's kind of a sleeper pick, isn't it?
I feel like that can be really
I agree.
good.
Yeah, I agree. And then I have one more thing, Jared, if I can, and then we'll talk scores and the game. The game. It wasn't even a game. Anyways.
Ohio learned that they had Jeremiah Smith as a wide receiver.
Did Ryan Day learn something last year or not? Man.
I remember they had wide receivers this year.
Hey, we can throw the ball. And they beat us in the trenches too. We'll talk about that. They beat us.
I saw a photo.
Beat us.
I saw one photo, like one of the linemen for Ohio State stood right over a Michigan dude and put it all over his Instagram. It was funny.
And let me say that as hard as this is for me to say,
they had y'all be in the first quarter.
They did, but I want to talk about after the game and the verb thinking about it.
Their mascot had more time in the end zone than Michigan did.
But I want to give Ryan Day respect. His guys were going to plant the flag on the M. The Michigan players circled around the M because they could better defend that than the end zone. But he told, and it was kind of also an underground.
I think he did that to save Ohio's reputation. Because could you imagine how bad that would look for Ohio?
He did.
You make it a felony to plant it on your stadium, and then then you go
Yeah.
beat Michigan and Michigan, then you plant the flag. That'd just be a bad look on your school.
But it
I
was
think
also
that's why he did it.
I do too, but it was also kind of a shot at Sharon last year. Michigan didn't show a lot of class. I'm just going to say it.
They didn't.
That brawl
Both schools didn't.
that brawl was a bad look on both programs, on college football at large, on the game, on the rivalry, all of it. But he said we're going to win with class, and I get it. That was kind of a shot across the bow at Moore and what Michigan did last year, and deserved. But the fact that he and his coaching staff stopped the guys. That we'll celebrate in the locker room. We got bigger. That deserves respect.
Yeah, I saw a video like the Ohio coaches, like the O-line coach, the defensive coordinator, the OC, the linebacker coach, all of them surrounded the M and were like, guys, no,
Mhm.
back to the locker room.
I just think that deserves respect in my book. So, congrats those guys. They beat us. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Jer, did you know that Duke?
Is in the
Duke.
ACC championship?
Isn't that crazy?
They were quiet the
Isn't that-
entire year.
Isn't that crazy?
They're not going to win it because they're playing Virginia, but
Oh,
still, over Florida State.
hey, here I wrote this down. Okay, I need you to help me with this, and I get it. Isn't that crazy? Okay, Duke is playing Virginia in the ACC championship over SMU, who is 6-2 and 10-2, over Miami, who is 12
Who's ranked?
in the college football playoff.
So it should realistically probably be what? Miami, Virginia?
We'll get there.
How does that work?
They're 6-2 and 10-2. So over SMU, over Miami, over Pitt, who is ranked 22nd right now, 6-2, 8-4 overall, and over 23rd ranked Georgia Tech, who is 6-2, 9-3 overall. All right. Here's how this happens. Are you ready? You're smart. You just finished doing some homework. I had to look this up. So Duke is playing in the ACC football. We have to preface that.
It has to be their ACC record.
Here's why. They're playing in the ACC football conference championship game due to a series of chaotic events in the final week of the regular season.
Oh, no.
They won a 5-way tiebreaker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So
Five?
they had a 20% chance of making it, and they got it.
5
I'm
way,
guessing the other 4 were the 4 you named.
So there were apparently 5 teams with a 6-2 conference record. Okay.
So that was what? Duke, Virginia, SMU,
Let's go back.
Miami, and
SMU, Miami, Pitt,
okay.
Georgia Tech, Duke. Yeah, you're exactly right. So here's how they did it. The Blue Devils secured their spot by defeating Wake Forest in a series of
Might as well
upsets,
go tell Cameron Boozer to hit a layup for the ACC championship.
including California beating SMU, and in conference game outcomes created the tiebreaker
Ooh.
scenario.
I just got a notification from Bleacher Report with Lane Kiffin going to LSU. I just got a thing from Bleacher Report that says Kiffin hints at QB transfer. So Trinidad Chambles or whatever, the Ole Miss's head coach, might transfer to LSU following.
So the Ole Miss
Lane.
QB might be
Yeah.
going, might follow him. That's the transfer portal, the stuff we're talking about earlier.
That's going to bring a whole lot more over from Ole Miss.
It very well could. It very, very well could. But yeah, so that's the reason that Duke is in their first ACC football championship appearance since 2013. A 5-way tie, tiebreaker rules, specific circumstances like
So
Duke.
they got it because Cal, who's in the PCE, they need to make another
Yeah.
conference for the West Coast. But so Cal beat SMU, and then
I had to write it down.
so Cal beat SMU.
Cal beat SMU, Duke beating Wake Forest, and ESPN said, or whatever ESPN, the source I used, said in a series of upsets, including Cal over SMU,
So they just got insanely lucky.
conference game outcomes that included a tiebreaker scenario. This is the first ACC championship for the Blue Devils football since 2013. Miami was eliminated from conference championship contention because they lost the tiebreaker to Duke. what is Duke like 7-5 overall, 6-2 in the conference, something like that.
Something like that. They're not good. So
So
Virginia,
that needs to be talked about, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I think some people might put an asterisk next to Virginia if they win this.
Yeah,
Because like he didn't really play the best team in the ACC.
yeah.
I mean, it should probably be what?
I think
Rankings wise, it should be Virginia, Miami.
yeah, I think that's the championship we all want and deserve, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
think the one we all want and deserve might be Tech, Miami.
Fair enough.
Haynes King is
Fair enough.
Because I feel like that would put like they lost to Georgia, but then I think that'd be more even of a matchup.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to lose to Georgia.
So
yeah,
would be in Georgia.
But with the game,
I'm sorry.
The game. Hey, you know how I feel. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee. Yeah. Silence, folks. All I'll say is this: that there's really no analyst that the analysis needs to be done. I'm not an analyst, anyways. We got beat in every phase of the game. Special teams, defense, offense. Our O line got destroyed. Excuse me. Our D line got worse than destroyed. Once again, the team that won the running, the line of scrimmage as far as yards gained from the running backs, won the game. Everybody wants to talk about the controversial touchdown call from Jeremiah. It didn't matter.
If it makes you feel better, Georgia Tech scored the same amount of points.
It doesn't, but it didn't matter. That touchdown didn't matter at all. Regardless how you feel about it, everybody wants to talk about it, but it didn't matter. Even if they get the touchback and go score, I mean, we lose 24-9. Here's my only thought, Jared.
That Bo Jackson dude. Ask Uncle Brent what Bo Jackson does in CFB 26.
He's a freshman, man. That's what's sad. And saying as a sophomore. Now, granted, here's the silver lining for Michigan.
40 yards.
Here's this Bryce Underwood, freshman. All right, we were down to our third string.
63 passing yards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bryce Underwood, you ready? 8 of 18. He had 18 attempts.
8 of 18, 63 yards.
63 yards.
3.5 yards per completion.
And a pick. The offensive coordinator, was Chip Lindsey, only drew up 18 calls for Bryce Underwood in all their possessions they had during the game. What do you have on average? Let's say you have 35 possessions in a game.
Zavita went 3 for 3.
Zavita was our MVP. Once again, now we won the first quarter. I will find some solace in that. We're up, 9 to 3.
And
then that was about it. But we have 4 redshirt freshmen, I believe I read, on the offensive line. Marsh is a stud. We're again our third. All credit to him, but
Justin Saints probably saying Marshall runs pretty good for backup.
Down to our third string running back. Again, so here's all I'll say because I get really mad about it. First off, the Fire Sharon stuff needs to stop. I think he deserves at least 2 more years. What he's done in the past was with hardball recruits and different things. He's got a great recruiting class coming in. Brutal schedule. A lot of programs would love to go 9-3. Granted, one of those programs is not Michigan. Lose the game. I get it. First time they beat us in almost 2,200 days since 2019. So here's all I'll say, Jeremiah. If I'm Bryce Underwood and Andrew Marsh was 0 for 0. No completions, nothing, all right? He's not even on the receiving end.
He's not even on there.
He's not even there. If I'm Underwood, I'm livid because you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking the coaching staff doesn't trust me.
That could lead to you losing him in the transfer
portal. NIL.
He
right?
get transferred this
LSU.
season.
LSU just picked up Lane Kiffin.
And LSU originally offered for him.
That's what I'm
originally
saying.
Committed there. So Michigan, if you don't want to waste these $10 million in this number 1 overall recruit, you better trust him more.
We're getting killed. Take the lid off. Let the kid run. Let him do something, right?
Whatever he did in high school.
Let him do something.
Go back to his high school clips.
What we're doing is not working. Let him do something. Whatever. I mean, like you just said, The kid's a freak athlete. He's going to be a star. It's his first time in the game. He's a legit freshman. Last year he was at Belleville High School.
Now, although in his freshman year going 9-3 and 7-2 in the Big Ten,
That's
being
great.
15th ranked is not bad.
That's
Well,
not bad
18th
at
ranked
all.
now, but that's
No,
not bad.
but if I'm him, if I'm Andrew Marsh, I'm mad. I'm going to Coach Moore. I'm going to again. I think his name's Chip Lindsey. He was our first year OC. I think we got him from UNC. I'm asking questions. What, do you not trust me? Like why did I only get 18 attempts? Right. So all Ohio had to do was keep loading the box.
Do you
Right.
think Sharon was probably trying to make it go like last year and just hell bent on
I
running
think
the ball?
I think the roles were reversed. I do. I think this year, like last year, Coach Day kind of coached himself out of it. I think that's what I'm just gonna say. I think that's what Moore did.
Because you don't. I mean,
We made we made no adjustments on defense. Oh, did you see the cushions our receivers were giving those guys? How many times was one of our cornerbacks giving a 15-yard cushion past the first down stick? So all Tate or Jeremiah Smith has to do
so
is
like all
just
they have to do is just
go to the sticks, come back,
yeah.
and they did
If
it.
they ran a
time.
curl route, it would have been over.
They would go. Let's say it's 2nd and 10. They'd run a curl route. They'd go out 15 yards, come back 5, saying hit them right in the chest, first down. At one point, they were like Ohio State was like 8 of 11 third down conversions.
Hmm.
That kills
Why are
a
you giving a
defense.
15-yard cushion and to because Jeremiah Smith, both of them, I think both of their receivers are 4-star or
Yeah.
5 stars, 4
E-
stars at least.
Even the analysts were like,
Why are
"What's
you
going on?"
Why are you giving Ohio State, who's arguably wide out
Yeah.
cushions?
Even Woodson, the Heisman Trophy winner from Michigan, was like, "You got to man up. Like you got to play some man on man, and you got to go make a play. Quit this cushion zone junk because Sayan is killing you, and Bo Jackson is doing just as much." So, if I'm Bryce and Andrew, I'm mad. I'm going to the coaching staff and I'm demanding some answers because it looks like you don't trust me. It looks like you don't trust me. And last thing, I was going to talk about Bryce's
like,
stats, which were
our
terrible.
all respect to Marshall and your third string, but it's not Donovan Edwards and Khalil Molt.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
like, all respect to both of those guys, but it's not Donovan Edwards or Khalil
Yeah,
Molt.
and it's
So,
not the offensive line from last year.
yeah, you don't have Mason Graham
Not
anymore.
Mason Graham, but again, I think the future is bright. One of my buddies who's a big Ohio fan, he goes, "Michigan fought hard." Well, Michigan's always going to fight hard. It's the game. But now things have changed. The reset, the counter's been reset in Ohio's favor. It's been X amount of days since Michigan beat Ohio State. So we'll see. But Gerald, get off my rant now. You want to talk about what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about your Vols?
It was just good overall. Oh, man.
Hey, I'm with you. I
Although
get it.
Vanderbilt
Yes.
does not own Tennessee, that's still volunteer state. Like I know Diego Pavia said that before the season, but Vanderbilt is not. Like Pavia had a better game. Right here, looking at the score, like the thing that carried Vanderbilt was rushing. Pavia could only did work with his legs. So that's all. That's what I noticed. Like our defense, insanely bad this year.
How many sacks did Vanderbilt have? I just remember 4. I just
Mhm.
remember Vandy getting after.
Our offense was decent. Our defense was bad. Like I know Vols fans have been calling for Tim Banks to be fired, and
Is it time?
yeah, fire Tim Banks, please, because our defense could have been so much better this year. And if we let Vanderbilt walk into Neyland and drop 45, like,
And hold you to what? And hold you to 21.
If Pavia can rush for 165 yards, is there a spy out there? Like,
Yeah.
after like a 25-yard run in Madden or college football, I'm already calling for a QB spy.
Mhm.
Like, I'm already telling my safety or my linebacker, you're going to be a QB spy. So, like, 165 yards from a quarterback?
Well, a couple of those times you could watch the Tennessee D line just get so far upfield instead of creating
Yeah,
a
Tennessee,
fence, and he would just ran right by him.
that
You know,
our defense especially, But in the second half of the season, ever since that Alabama loss, Tennessee's looked different. It is not. They've looked worse in my opinion, especially after that Oklahoma game. Just the second half of this season, our team did not look good. Like it wasn't the same team that played Syracuse all the way to Arkansas and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
That second half, especially after Oklahoma, terrible. I did not like the way Tennessee looked after those games.
Yeah. All right, Derek. We'll go through the scores, rankings.
I only just playing fit. USC being UCLA. Not much in the scores, so yeah, we can just go
Texas
into the
over
rankings.
Texas over A&M.
Yep, that's
A&M their
that's
first
another one.
loss.
Man, I thought A&M was gonna go 12-0, but it didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be.
Now the big story, depending on what happens this weekend, does Texas?
I think I already have an NFL equivalent for Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Bryce Young.
But Texas as a 3-loss team, do they get in? Because they got some pretty big wins, but man, they had to go to overtime to beat Kentucky, and had to have some crazy special teams play to beat Mississippi State. So,
what does this mean for Texas? You're up and then down, and then Arch Manning's playing like Bryce Young. So.
Yeah, I think that's just having a first-year quarterback. I think they're going to get it figured out. And a brutal schedule, no other way about it.
It also doesn't help that like you're a sophomore in the entire country saying Arch Manning's gonna do Heisman. Texas is the favorite for the national championship. Texas is gonna do that. Texas is gonna do this.
Preseason number one.
Preseason number one.
Yeah.
Your first game's against Ohio in the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
So like, it was just rough. I think there was a lot of pressure on Texas coming in, and they folded. Honestly, they folded under the pressure. Arch especially, but it doesn't help with having Manning as the last name.
Yeah.
And knowing what both of your uncles did.
But they have righted the ship, winning by 10. Yeah, not a ton. Ohio State wins 27-9. I think I said 24-9 earlier, but 27-9. How about Oklahoma barely squeaking by LSU? That would have threw a kink in some playoffs.
LSU going 7-5 this year. That's insane.
Auburn, man, did you watch that kid fumble the ball at the end of the game? Auburn's driving, and late in the game, and Auburn kid fumbles game.
Like celebrating a touchdown, or like he got tackled?
No, he got tackled, and trying to fight for more yards, and man, the kid just fumbled the ball. Gut wrenching.
I was about to say, if it was him like celebrating a touchdown way too early, and that's terrible. I think it's why Hugh Freeze got fired. Auburn's 1-7 against SEC opponents this year.
Yeah.
I saw like the
Here we go.
paragraph that they wrote.
So Daniels, the Auburn quarterback, had the Tigers on the move late. This is ESPN.com. Taking advantage of a pass interference penalty, he scrambled for a first down on 4th and 2, but star receiver Cam Coleman fumbled with 33 seconds left. You got to feel for that kid. You got to feel. Iron Bowl, a rivalry that not a lot of people talk about, but man, what a rivalry.
Hey, there goes Davis.
Yeah. But yeah, everything else is pretty straightforward. Miami taking care of business. Tulane, yeah. So anything else, dear college football rankings, right?
Yeah, rankings, and then we can move on to college basketball.
Oh yeah.
Number 1, Ohio State. 2 undefeated teams this year. Number 1, Ohio State, and then Indiana.
How good is that game going to be this weekend?
Yeah, one team will get their first loss of the season.
Yeah.
Then number 2.
Can they both lose? Just asking for a friend.
I want Indiana.
I do too.
So, Georgia number 3, Oregon number 4, Texas Tech number 5, Ole Miss number 6. Despite losing Lane Kiffin, because I saw a thing where Paul Feinbaum, even though I'd never agree on him, He's probably the worst analyst since Skip Bayless. Um, he had a really good point a couple weeks ago where if Lane Kiffin were to leave, would it mess with the rankings at all? So I was like, that's probably a good thing to point out. Will him leaving affect the team and the rankings?
Well,
So
you hope not.
yeah,
You hope not.
doesn't
'Cause
look like it did. They're still number 6, with that little dash next to him. And then down to 7, you got A&M, Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9, Alabama 10, BYU 11th, Miami 12th, Vanderbilt up to 13th, Texas 14th, Utah 15th, Virginia 16th, USC 17th, Michigan 18th, JMU 19th, North Texas 20th, Tulane 21st, Arizona 22nd, 23rd is Navy, and then 24th is Georgia Tech. That was the AP poll.
Missouri 25 in and out. Here's what's interesting: 20 ranked Georgia or North Texas, excuse me. 21 ranked Tulane. 22nd ranked. I mean, back up. Sorry, 19th ranked James Madison. 20th North Texas. 21 Tulane. All looking for new coaches. You know, with UCLA, OSU, Oklahoma State, and Florida, where those coaches are going to respectively.
So, a lot of movement. As
Yeah.
you
Can
probably
you
say.
imagine if Signetti and Indiana can beat Ohio this year? What
After
that
how
what that
Ohio
program
looked-
has done in 3 years, right?
After how Ohio looked after that last game, I don't know.
Historic defense. Lord help me, but historic defense. I was one of those guys. Let's see how they do against Michigan. You know, a decent team, first decent team they faced since Texas, and they were fine. They
But
were
hey,
they were fine.
Indiana, they still whipped tail. I know after
They were fine.
that 3-point win against Penn State kind of had everyone quiet about them. I haven't heard much about Indiana over the past 2 weeks, but 31-7 against Wisconsin, then 56-3 on Purdue.
That's the way Signetti wants it, though.
So
Another low-key matchup that not a lot of people that we're aware of are talking about is 5 in the Big 12 championship game this Saturday. 5 Texas Tech versus 11 BYU. Texas Tech beat the brakes off BYU in the regular season, but you know, a top 11 matchup there in the Big 12 championship. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
NCAA basketball.
Let me. One thing here. Sorry. How about these championship games, Jer? North Texas Tulane, BYU Texas Tech, Georgia Bama. That just sounds right, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Ohio State.
Georgia for their 5th title since 2020.
Well, yeah, but didn't Bama roll between the hedges and beat them this year? You know,
I think they did.
So
I think they ended that big streak. So
I would definitely. I mean, it's in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Superdome. You know, I would definitely think Georgia's the favorite, but
have fun getting into a Lucas Oil.
got to be in the back here, man. Oh yeah.
Have fun getting into Lucas
A
Oil.
lot. I mean, there'll be red there anyways, but there'll be a lot of Indiana red.
A lot of that darker Hoosier red.
And then, man, we talked about Duke. Duke playing Virginia Tech for the ACC championship. All right, Jer, NFL. I just wanted to get your. Which one of those games? It's hard to say. The obvious ones are the SEC, Big Ten, two best conferences, but some really intriguing matchups. You know, North Texas 11-1, Tulane 10-2. Both a lot of things swirling around as far as new coaches. BYU Texas Tech. You know, it's gonna be a good Saturday for college football. I'm gonna leave it at that. NFL.
NFL? All right. Currently, the Patriots, who are
amazing,
best in the league right now, beating the Giants.
Do you know that
17-0.
Mike Vrabel used to coach in Tennessee?
I knew we were going to do that. Like, they fired him that day in 2023. I'll probably never forget it. But me and my friend, we were in history class, and he was he just got an Apple Watch, so he was able to get all the notifications at middle of class, and then we're sitting there doing our worksheet or whatever for history. He's like, "They fired Vrabel." I was like, "You're joking." He was like, "No, they really did." And he showed me his watch. And I was like, We're going to regret this 2 years time." And look at us 2 years later. We fired the coach that replaced him. So
And they are winning 17 to nothing in the first quarter against the Giants on Monday Night Football. But yeah, Jerry, your thoughts? I got on the standings today, league wide, and I want to get your thoughts on some teams and the way they're trending. Okay,
mhm.
you're the NFL guy, you're the NBA guy, um, but here's some teams that are trending up late in the season. Okay, all of these teams have at least a 3-game winning streak. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and get your stats up, your standings up. Of course, Denver and New England have both won 9 in a row.
Here's my thing for Denver, real quick.
They barely beat Washington.
Yeah,
Dub's a dub.
look at who they've played.
Yeah.
So that's my only thing. Like the real test for Denver is coming up. Green Bay, Jacksonville, Kansas City, the Chargers.
Yeah.
Now I know Herbert is right now out with a hand injury, but I think
Had surgery today.
yeah, they're planning to have him back by the time they're supposed to play the Broncos. Last time those two teams played, the Chargers won that game. So, and their only losses, the Broncos, are to the Chargers and Colts. And at the time, the Colts were crazy good. But if it's a good team, they sneaked out, and if it's a bad team, they've sneaked out. So a lot of people are like, "Are we sure that the Broncos are really 10-2?"
Mm.
Because they haven't had a schedule kind of like what Detroit has had, or what probably Philly has had, or what Kansas City has had. So people are like, "How good are they really?"
Fair enough. New England and Denver, 9 in a row. The Chicago Bears, leading the NFC North, have won 4 in a row.
Never thought I'd say that.
The Houston Texans have won 4 in a row.
I still think that Jacksonville's gonna probably win that. But here's the crazy thing. You know how Indiana was like the miles ahead of everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Indiana's now second in the AFC South. They have the same record as the Jaguars. Indiana's pumped the brakes a little bit.
They have. And only one game back now are the Houston Texans. As you mentioned, Jaguars and Colts 8-4.
And the AFC South's a three-team division.
Yeah, because they're all beating the Titans.
No.
Each team
don't
two
do
bye
that.
weeks in addition to the regular bye weeks when they play the Titans,
You're a
who have
jerk.
already been eliminated from
You're
playoff
a
contention.
jerk. They were one of 4.
1-11, lost 7 in a row. Hey, they got a new stadium to look forward to. It hurts my heart. I lived in Tennessee for a long time. It's embarrassing.
Sam Ward Stadium.
But the Texans have
Hey,
won 4 in a
The
row.
players are still ready to win the game, though. That's the thing.
But that you also beat me to the punch, Jerry. You have the Packers, the Jags, the Cowboys,
Hey, no one's talking about the Cowboys.
and the Dolphins
What?
have each won 3 in a row.
Nobody's talking about the Cowboys.
No?
That George Pickens trade, crazy good move. George Pickens is now second in the NFL in receiving yards behind JSN. CeeDee Lamb's also right there. Do not count out the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys are essentially, I know they got the tie, but they're essentially a game and a half, 2 games out of first place. Eagles have lost 2 in a row. Cowboys have won 3 in a row. Commanders, the bottom of that division is terrible. Commanders lost 7 in a row. Giants lost 6, about to lose 7
It's
in a
back
row.
to traditional NFC East stuff.
Yeah,
Between
yeah.
Dallas and Philly, Commanders and Giants are terrible.
No doubt.
Granted, the Commanders have been injury.
What do you think about these teams that are kind of getting hot? Again, all these teams have won at least 3 in a row. Miami, Dallas, Jacksonville, Green Bay, San Francisco, Texans 4 in a row, Bears 4 in a row, New England and Denver 9 in a row. Any of those teams, are those teams legit? Fluff? Are they peaking at the right
Chicago's
time?
legit.
Chicago is legit.
Jacksonville's probably peaking at the right time.
Packers are good.
Packers are
They're
good.
good. They went to Detroit and just beat us.
Watch that game. It was a
Beat us.
But man, it's looking great. Of course, the NFC West is still at a necktie. Here's the thing about the NFC West. San Francisco's 9-4. Seattle's 9-3. LA is 9-3. So I think we predicted it's going to be a really close NFC West. Of course, our dark horse didn't really perform, but
Yeah.
the NFC West, like we said, is going to be a close race. So, and then for Minnesota, I got on Instagram earlier today. A lot of people are saying that Justin Jefferson should get out of Minnesota and stop wasting his career because he's had a ton of different quarterbacks. So people are like, Justin, get out of there, man.
I love McCarthy. One, he's just got to stay healthy. He's got to, and so far he's not lived up to the hype. He's last year he missed the whole year due to injury. This year he's missed what feels like at least half the season. So right now looking like a bust. He's got to get
People are
healthy.
That's why people are saying Justin needs to get out of Minnesota because they don't have a good quarterback. I'll respect JJ, but they don't have a good quarterback, and the backups have been worse than McCarthy. And like we've seen, and like in the stats that people have pulled up, I'll respect McCarthy, but he's been one of the worst quarterbacks to start a game since 2000. Like out of the 800 different quarterbacks that have started a game since 2000, McCarthy's 851st on that list. That's why.
Is that bad?
It's really bad.
And then here's a kind of salt in an open wound is you have, Sam Darnold now in Seattle. They're 9-3, tied for first in the NFC West on a 2-game.
Yeah.
They just barely missed the cut on a 2-game winning streak. San Francisco again won 3 in a row. Again 9-3, 9-3, 9-4.
Hey, flip the Cardinals around. They're in there.
Hey, flip that record. They're first place. Jerry, your thoughts? Chiefs sitting there at 500, 6 wins, 6 losses. Point differentiation. They've scored 73 more points than their opponents. Lost 1 game.
Playoffs are not entirely. Playoff hopes are not entirely out the window for Kansas City. Of course, a lot of people don't think that Kansas City is going to make playoffs because we watched them play the Cowboys. They did not look like a playoff team.
Well, the Cowboys beat them.
They did not. And just all they have, the only good player that so far has been Rasheed and Patrick Mahomes. Like what we saw against Dallas. Remember, we watched that game and we were like, Kansas City might not be a playoff team, but here's their last 4. The Chargers, probably going to be an L, but that's at Arrowhead. So, then the Titans, it's probably another L. Cam Ward's going to have 800 yards right there. The Broncos, that might be an L. Then the Raiders. So that's 2-2 most likely in their next 4. So that puts them at what, 500 still?
500, yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs ain't making the playoffs.
Yeah, 6-6.
I tried to put a little hope in there.
After losing to the Cowboys again, Cowboys coming up and down, but they're one of those teams that have won 3 in a row or more.
And they're quiet.
They're quiet, but the Cowboys sure do have a history of having a great regular season.
They beat both Super Bowl teams in back-to-back weeks, so Cowboys might be your Super Bowl.
And then just choking in the playoffs. Another thing I want to draw your attention to is the Bengals over the Ravens. Burrow back, 24 for 46, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 sack.
You want to look at mediocre? Look at the AFC North standings.
Right, yeah.
You want to have a look at mediocre.
But Cincinnati rolling into, with the return of Burrow, Cincinnati rolling into Baltimore and getting that dub.
Did you say with them getting Burrow back, they're just trying to salvage what's left of the season?
I think so, and it's got to be a lift, right? You get your guy back, and I know we kind of had the Bengals buried, but gracious day, you're 500, you're leading that division, right? All of those teams in the AFC North, this is unbelievable, have a negative point differential. That means their opponents have scored more points than they have. Baltimore -4, Pittsburgh -8, Cincinnati -94, Cleveland -76.
Rough.
Is that bad?
Bad.
It's not good.
But hey, that AFC East, though, they're looking dangerous.
They are.
So, I mean, Buffalo, they're not going to win it, but Josh Allen, Josh Allen with a new record as well, breaking Cam 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 Newton's um touchdown records, most rushing touchdowns in a season by a quarterback.
I just dapped all of our watchers because I had to turn the alarm off, and I was like, hey, sorry guys.
And then
He's the professional one.
The NFC South's been quiet, but Tampa Bay. I know Baker Mayfield's been hurt, but Tampa Bay is 7-5, and then
Carolina, man.
7-6.
Who'd they just beat this weekend? The Rams.
Rams, yes.
Upset.
Dude, you start giving up on Carolina, and then Bryce Young just turns into Tom Brady.
They're sitting right there. Bucks 7-5, Panthers 7-6. Then it's a big drop. Atlanta 4-8, and the poor Saints
I saw this
2-10.
I saw this meme today for the Panthers, and you're probably not gonna like this as a Michigan fan, but it was like Bryce Young before every Sunday he presses one of two buttons, and on the left side it had prime like 2007 Tom Brady, and then it had on the right J.J. McCarthy.
Oh,
And they said
ouch.
today he chose the left button. So
So rude.
Bryce Young has been, Carolina's been quiet overall.
Quiet, man, right there. I mean, they're sitting there.
And then want to go in and look at score, or
Yeah, I think I had Colts have now lost 2 in a row. But you talked about that.
and then Jonathan Taylor. I don't think he's had over 100 yards, and he hasn't had a touchdown in the last 2 games they've played. I think in this last game he had like, he didn't have much.
Bro, their schedule. Have you seen their schedule down the stretch?
I've heard that
At
really rough.
Jacksonville, at Seattle, home against the Niners, home against the Jags, at Houston.
And then you wanna
They
know-
may not win again.
I saw a thing earlier. Adam Schefter said that early season momentum that they had is gone. Adam Schefter said it. He thinks that is gone, and it doesn't help that Sauce Gardner just had an Achilles scare. It looks like on here. So, it's a rough, very rough last half, especially with that NFC West part. And then it doesn't help that Jacksonville's been playing the way they have, and Houston being quiet.
Yep. Patriots now up 17-7 on the Giants. Lions are beaten by the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down with an injury, which killed my fantasy team, and I'm playing you this week.
Hey, my team. I needed. This is gonna sound horrible, but I don't want to sound horrible. I needed Amon-Ra to go down because my entire team underperformed by 30 points.
Yeah.
Like I was projected to put up 165.
Yeah.
I'm at 135.
It didn't matter. Cowboys beating the Chiefs. Bengals over the Ravens. Bears over the Eagles.
I knew it was going to be a good game
at Philly.
but I was like, this is going to probably come down to maybe a field goal, but 9 points.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Bears scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter. Niners over Browns. Jaguars squeaked by the Titans 25-3. Titans beating the Colts. Dolphins over the Saints. The Jets, Jets, over the Falcons 27-24.
4-8.
How about that? Bucks over the Cardinals. Panthers over Rams, big upset there. Seahawks blanking the Vikings 26-0. Bills over the Steelers 26-7. Chargers over Raiders 31-14. Broncos 27. Commanders 26 in overtime.
That's what I meant earlier when I saw people were questioning how good are the Broncos really. They squeak out against every team they've played. So people are like, how good is this 10-2 team? You know?
How upset are the Lions with their schedule back?
You just had 15-2 of this.
Packers, Bears, Ravens. I'm just naming a few. I'm gonna leave a few out. Packers, Bears, Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers, Cowboys, Rams,
Mm.
Steelers,
Mm.
Bears. Like this week, they're
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 2 and
against the
2. I
Cowboys.
see them winning only 2 games out of that last 4.
What's left? They have home against the Cowboys,
That's an L.
at the Rams,
L
home against the Steelers.
win.
Then they're done at home.
I'm
Then
predicting a win.
at Minnesota,
I think they win that one.
at Chicago.
I say 2 and 3 in the last 5.
2 and 3. That would make
That's what I
them
think.
9 and 8.
That's what I think at least.
It's worth. I mean, that's that's a brutal schedule. That's rough. So who's got it out against the Lions and Dan Campbell? What do we do to you?
I don't want to see stats. Who's leading in what category? All right, so here's your top 5 in passing yards: Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones. Your leaders in rushing: Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Devon Achane, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then Bijan Robinson. Your leaders in receiving: JSN. I think he was projected, JSN was to break the all-time receiving yards record in NFL history. I don't know if he's still on that trajectory, but right now he has 1,336 yards receiving, and we're going into week 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then George Pickens second, Puka Nacua third, Jamar Chase fourth, fifth is Amon-Ra St. Brown. It gets a little bit spread out after Pickens because Puka's at 1,019, Jamar's at 971, then Amon-Ra's at 884. Your leaders on the defensive side of the ball in total tackles is Jordan Brooks from Miami. He has 137. Second is Cedric Gray from Tennessee with 118. Third is Jack Campbell of Detroit with 117. Fourth is Bobby Wagner of Washington with 115. Then fifth is Devin White out of Las Vegas with 114. Your leaders in sacks are Myles Garrett with 19 sacks this season. What do you think on that one?
19. They've played. We're finishing week 13, about to go into week 14.
Yeah,
He's got 19.
Yeah.
Good.
That's a sack a game. That's like a sack and a half a game.
My analyst hat on here. That's good. That's good.
And then Brian Burns out of the Giants with 13. Then Micah Parsons out of Green Bay with 12 and a half. Danielle Hunter out of Houston with 11. Then Josh Sweat out of Arizona with 11. Your leaders in interceptions: former Titan Kevin Byard with 6. J.C. Horn out of Carolina with 6. With 5. Then Ernest Jones out of Seattle also has 5. Then Nashon Wright from Chicago is 5th. And then Tremaine Edmonds out of Chicago is 5th. So 3 of the 5.
Tell me Chicago's secondary is good?
Yeah, I think Edmonds is a linebacker. Yeah, Edmonds is a linebacker. So that's crazy, though, for Chicago. Your 3 of the 5 leaders in interceptions in the whole league are from your defense.
Yeah. Now, help me. The Lions defensive coordinator, where'd he go?
Jets.
Okay.
He's probably thinking, should have stayed in Detroit.
Yeah.
So
you have an offensive guy from Detroit coming to Chicago and their defense playing that well. I think that's interesting.
I think that's really good for Caleb Williams because that was what, the same year.
You don't outscore him. You just.
What was that? The same year that what's his name? Stroud got drafted. Caleb Williams and CJ. And everyone was like, "Wow, the Texans won this one. Another L for the Bears." But I think in hindsight,
working out pretty good.
Bears have won that because if you look at it, the only year that CJ Stroud's been good, or at least like a playoff caliber, or at least like a good run in the playoffs, was his rookie year.
Yeah.
It's been dead quiet. Everyone kind of read off last season as, it's a sophomore slump. He'll get over it by next year. Not much has changed.
Poor guy. How many OCs has he played for? How many coaches now?
I don't think they've had much changes in Houston. It's been
I'm thinking
team.
Williams. Forgive me.
Oh, Williams.
I was reading some stuff and missed you. Sorry. But how many different coordinators Williams played for?
I think Johnson is his second or third head
Yeah.
coach.
And the point I was trying to make with Williams, you're not exactly right with Stroud, but Williams is, you know, I think he's found a system now, and where he can thrive.
Mm-hmm. Patriots right now
Patriots doing well.
doing well.
Titans and Browns can't miss TV. Tickets start at $9. Jaguars, Colts, Steelers, Ravens.
And we might go to the
Bears,
Giants game
Packers.
later this year.
Yeah.
They'll probably lose it, but it'll be another snooze fest. Saints Titans, December 28th. Hit it up on your TV.
We'll be there. They're giving tickets away.
Yeah, that's how we got them.
Anything else NFL, buddy?
Going into next week, not next year. Sunday night looking like it might be a pretty good game. Texans, Chiefs, Bears, Packers, and then Eagles, Chargers on Monday night.
Yeah,
Those are my three big games, I would say, for the week.
Well, they're to your point, Jared. Those are essentially division
altering
championships right now. I know. Hear me out. Colts, Jags, Steelers, Ravens, Bears, Packers. So yeah, those games will have a lot to say over the long course of the year.
Good luck getting into Lambeau though. Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Goodness.
15. Cold.
And then they're catching $20 a ticket.
Yeah, I'll watch it on TV. My heat at home.
Golly. All right. I think that's it for the NFL.
Monday, Eagles, Chargers at SoFi.
Oh no. Next week's going to be a rough week for the Drake May lover. Patriots don't play.
Rest.
So, college basketball?
Yeah. You're a Tennessee guy. I'm a Kentucky
Hey, we got the dub
basketball
over Houston.
guy. We have a huge win tomorrow at Rupp, playing North Carolina. We've struggled against top-ranked teams with the two we played, being Michigan State and Louisville. Michigan State came into the game making 4 threes per game, and they made 11. Shot 50% from three and 50% from the field. So they beat us. Louisville, I think their guards combined to score over 50 points, 54 points or something like that.
You're going to want to get that fixed.
And exactly. My point is, in those games against those elite teams, we have struggled against their guards. We've struggled to defend the three. So Pope has a chance to quiet some critics against UNC, a very, very good UNC team. You were telling me about one of their freshmen who's a stud.
He's made some noise this season.
So tomorrow got a chance against a very good team, a ranked team at home. I think it's the ACC, SEC showdown, or whatever they call that deal now. But we struggle defending guards. We struggle defending the three-point line against those good teams. And it seems like we struggle mightily against teams who are just more physical than us. Michigan State especially.
Michigan State, that one dude.
They bulldozed us, and we had nothing to show for it. I will give Pope a ton of credit. You have these different coaches who are loyal to guys on their team to a fault. Calipari was notorious for it. He essentially benched Brandon Garrison and is now starting Malachi Moreno, the All-American from Georgetown, and it's made a big difference. Without Jaden Lowe still with injuries, but I think Pope deserves some credit. Oweh's kind of starting to play better. I think Oweh got bad advice in the draft. I think they told him to work on the three. That's just not his game. One of the analysts said it against Tennessee Tech, who we beat by 50. Oweh does better when he's inside, getting those shots, the difficult shots, and that creates space for him to be able to in turn shoot the three. So sometimes you can get right advice, call it that, and it doesn't help you. So congrats on Pope for making that difference. That change seemed to make a difference. And Jared, last thing I have on college basketball for right now, and you actually mentioned this question earlier. Why is the Michigan Wolverines? Why are the Michigan Wolverines not ranked number one in the country right now?
They were nasty.
Did they have a good week?
Like they had insanely good week. They blew out Gonzaga and Auburn. And
Okay,
in the latest rankings that came out today,
third.
Auburn is 20th, Gonzaga is 11th.
And Michigan's three.
Michigan is 3 behind Arizona. I know Arizona has one dude that's really good, but Arizona, they probably deserve that second place spot. They have a win over number at the time number 3 ranked win over UConn, and then another win over at the time number 3 ranked and number 15 ranked Florida and UCLA. But upcoming the next two games for Arizona is looking a little tough. They play number 20 Auburn next, and then they play number 12 Alabama. After that, they get a bit of a break. They go on Alabama Christian, San Diego State, South Dakota State. Next ranked after this is BYU with AJ DeBenson.
Yeah, I hear you, but you beat Auburn by 30,
Mm-hmm.
and you beat Gonzaga, hanging over 100 on them by 40. Have there been two more dominant wins over great teams in the country? The one I'll put close to it involves your Vols when they went to Vegas and beat the Houston Cougars. That was a big time dub.
Yeah, I was really glad. Tennessee played really well. Jacoby Gillespie was coming off a really big run, and then against Kansas, they honestly just choked. Especially closer to the end of that game,
Second half, yeah, yeah.
Tennessee was starting to miss shots, and it felt like Kansas could just do some dude perfect trick shot off the wall from the top of the rafters, and it still would go in.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee could just shoot a small layup and it not go in.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the time, Gillespie was coming off, I think, a 25-point game, then a 33-point game. So at first, Tennessee was looking like they can win it. But if Tennessee, if they can hit their shots, and if Nate and Gillespie play really well, they have a chance to be national champions this year, which I love. Rick Barnes is doing really good, and then our bench is just so deep. Coming off our bench, we have JP Estrella, who's really good all around. He can shoot, he can pass, he can dribble. And then we have another guy off the bench who was like our spark against, especially against Kansas. Let me see if I can find his name here. Jalen Carey. When they subbed him in against, Kansas, you could just tell that Tennessee's spirits lifted when he came in. Just the defense was better, the hustle was better. Nate Event played better. Gillespie played better. The entire team all around played better. And then Bishop Boswell, he was our guy against Houston. He played really well against Houston. Just Tennessee, they have Gillespie who's playing really well. They have Felix Okapara is playing really well. Cade Phillips, when he's healthy, he's really good. Nate Mint, our freshman, he's really good. I think he was on the watch list for Player of the Year this year. So Tennessee, they have a great starting lineup and then a just as deep bench. So don't expect Tennessee to not be bad this
Yeah.
year. I think they're
That's-
looking like a really good
I
team.
think Tennessee is in the same boat as Kentucky. Chandler. He's our spark. You have Aberdeen from our Florida transfer, Diabate, our Alabama transfer. But Chandler's that guy for us. You have Trent Noah who can shoot the ball. So it'll be interesting when those two teams play.
Here's my thing with Kentucky. When we've watched them play the few times this season, just whatever scheme Pope has up for it, it just looks ugly on the floor. I don't know if like I'm doing a bad take or if I just watched them at the wrong times. Just whatever play style Kentucky has, I don't like it much because it feels like whenever at least I have watched them, it feels like whenever that Chandler dude gets the ball, he's chucking it up from 25 feet
Hmm.
in college. And you've heard me say a few times, I'm like, what is he doing? Like, why is he chucking up a 25-foot three in college with like room to spare to take a dribble and at least get closer?
I think Pope's system is like that. I think he wants to shoot 30, 35 threes a game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would be great to see him maybe use his bigs a little more. I know he does. I know he does like the pick and roll.
Well, when he used them against, when he used that Morano dude, for example, when he used that Morano dude against Tennessee Tech, it just turned into gold.
Yeah.
So like he would have him get the ball, and then they run a little pick and roll action with Otega or something, and then Morano, he's right there in the paint to either get the board or to be that roll pass for the dunk.
Yeah.
It just feels like whenever they tell them to get the ball and chuck it up, it doesn't work. It feels like this team is built more for the um, pick and roll action because you
Mhm.
got Otega, like you said earlier. He's really good at moving around inside the paint. So kind of like Kobe style. Would that be a good comparison? Kobe Bryant probably.
Hard to compare anybody to the Mamba, but I think we go as he goes. You know, you look at what he did against Oklahoma twice last year, the team he
Yeah.
transferred from. This year, as it was last year, I think if we have to go get a bucket, we got to be able to rely on Otega Owe, because he's that dude.
They're trying to rely so much on Colin Chandler and the BYU guys that it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we watched it, or at least I did. I noticed it against I noticed it with the Tennessee Tech game. It felt like whenever Chandler would get the ball, like if he would get a rebound, he would dribble it out to the three, chuck up a 25-foot three. It would brick, and then they're on their way playing defense.
Mm.
So I just feel like this roster is more built for the pick and roll, more for the mid range and just shifty style than just the chucking
Yeah.
up threes.
You know, I don't know a lot about it, but you know, Pope's offense is very, very intricate, very reliant on pick and rolls, screens, motion, those things. One of the problems that Pope talked about earlier in the year was his bigs, not necessarily the pick, but the roll. He wants them to roll harder, so they've got a chance to do something in the paint or whatever. Chandler this year, Jair, in 7 games, averaging almost 24 minutes a game, shooting over 50% from the field, 50.9, shooting 40, almost 49% from three, um, averaging 11.7 points per game. He's just kind of been that spark for us, at least recently. But when you've got, you know, Garrison 6'10", or the Croatian player, I can't pronounce his name, 6'11", Moreno 7 foot, Potter 7'1", Quintessence, we can get him back. He's 6'10". You know, we've got a lot of height that I hope, you know, Pope's a brilliant mind, but I just hope we can utilize. If we need to go big, we can go big. Or we've also got some dogs at guard, you know, Aberdeen, Chandler, you know, Diabate's a forward, but he's 6'7". You know, you've got Jasper Johnson, Jalen Lowe, Trent Noah, Otega, Cam Williams. You know, we got some guys. I like this team, but as I mentioned earlier, kind of the segue to this, we've struggled mightily against good teams, playing a very good team tomorrow night. I hope we can figure out if I'm, you know, if I'm what's UNC's coach, just went blank on his name. I can see him, but if I'm preparing for this game, I'm like, hey, we're gonna run our guards, we're gonna run pick and rolls, we're gonna shoot three because so far Kentucky struggled mightily, in those particular areas.
Kentucky's a big favorite though, probably because it's that rep.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky's a really big favorite.
Hubert Davis, that's UNC's coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If I feel like not a lot of guys have really made noise on UNC. The only one I've really heard about has been Caleb Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Wilson is a 6'10" freshman. He's right now averaging 19.9 points and 9.9 rebounds. And he played really well against Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw how Kansas played against Tennessee, another good
Yep.
team. So I think if they can shut down Wilson, Kentucky has a really good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, Jair, look at Kentucky's next few games. Home to North Carolina, and they play Gonzaga. I believe that game's in Nashville. Then you have a break, NC Central. Then you have Indiana. Then you have St. John's. Then you start SEC play at Alabama. So they better figure out some stuff, and they better figure it out quick.
Yeah, I'm right now looking at UNC. I'm looking at their starting five from the Michigan State game. Um, it looks like UNC is very big focused because their leading scorers from the Michigan State game was Caleb Wilson, and their center, I can't say their center's name's Henry, but the guard that did well and looks like he could have done way better. It looks like if UNC can shoot, this team can be good because they didn't shoot too well against Michigan State, but Luka Bogovic and Caleb Wilson and then Henry were their three big scorers from that last
Yeah,
game.
Wilson leads the team in points per game, 19.9, and rebounds, 9.9. So brother's almost averaging a double-double with 20 and 10.
And then looks like that Ryan Evans will be a rough one to handle. And then Luca.
6'10".
Yep, he is a 6'10" freshman.
Tall.
But yeah, I think if they can shut down Wilson, which I think they can with Morano and that height you were talking about,
Got the size and the height, yes.
then
Yep.
Kentucky should easily get this one.
And it's a rub. Yeah, I like the fact that it's a rub.
Duke, Florida.
Yeah, some great games. I was looking at that earlier, man. Some
UConn,
good games.
Kansas, Tennessee, Syracuse.
You're not old enough to remember when Syracuse was really good
Carmelo Anthony.
under
Oh,
Jim
and-
Boeheim. But yeah, some big games tomorrow night. That Iowa, Michigan State, both teams coming in 7-0. Tennessee, Syracuse, Florida at Duke, UConn, Kansas.
On Wednesday.
At Allen Fieldhouse. UNC, Kentucky, and then USC, Oregon.
On Wednesday, we get treated to Louisville, Arkansas.
How
So
about that?
Calipari taking on Louisville in Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
So be another. They get the fourth off. Then December 5th, Gonzaga plays Kentucky.
Yeah.
So
That game's in Nashville. So yeah,
it's
big
at Rupp. So
big week for us. What is it, Rupp? It says Music City Madness, but at Rupp Arena.
that's interesting.
Don't know what that means.
I
Okay.
guess Kentucky's the home team.
Yeah, it says the game's at Rupp on ESPN. It's called. It says Music City Madness, but game at Rupp. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
NBA or is that all?
All for me. If you're going to NBA, I'm gonna tell you good night and say you
I'll take over the NBA.
Let me go here. Hey, thanks, folks. Thanks for watching.
All right. Do a quick recap from Sunday for the NBA because I'm tired. Okay. Anyways, the Rockets beat the Jazz, Celtics beat Cavs, Raptors lose to the Knicks. Raptors on a bit of a losing streak here. After being second in the East behind Detroit. Detroit's also on a losing streak, so top teams in the East right now both are on a losing streak. The Sixers beat the Hawks. Tyrese Maxey is keeping the 76ers afloat. The Thunder and the Trailblazers. Thunder right now 20-1. Only one loss for them. So Thunder, very strong chance they might go back to back. Timberwolves beat the Spurs. Grizzlies beat the Kings. And then Pelicans lose to the Lakers. Right now in the latest standings, Detroit number 1 in the East. Number 2 is the Knicks. 3 is the Raptors. 4 is the Heat. Heat being quiet. Orlando 5th. Atlanta 6th. Cleveland 7th. Boston 8th. Philly 9th. 10th Chicago. And then over in the West, OKC is first, of course. The Lakers are second. Third are the Rockets. Fourth are the Nuggets. Fifth are the Spurs. Sixth are the Timberwolves. Seventh are the Suns. Eighth are the Warriors. Ninth are the Grizzlies. 10th are the Trailblazers. Keep an eye on the Clippers this year, because if the Clippers do really bad, OKC gets the top 10 pick from all the Paul George trades and all that from a couple years ago. There was a 2026 first round pick in there, and depending on how bad the Clippers do, OKC gets that pick. So if the Clippers were to finish with one of the worst records in the NBA and a top 10 pick, that pick goes to um goes to the Thunder, and this draft class is looking very stacked this year. Looking like the best draft class we've had in a while. So the Thunder could just put dynasty on dynasty and just go insane right now. Best team in the league overall is of course the Thunder, but right now my pick for MVP is Jokic. No one's been playing better than him. Of course, he's got Shea and all that, but Jokic has been spitting out triple doubles like it's nothing. Um, I do. I don't have a award, but yeah, I'm gonna try to find who is the NBA favorite. According to the Google AI, right now the top three in MVP are Nikola Jokic, SGA, and Luka Doncic. So as of right now, those are your top three in NBA odds and all that. I think Rookie of the Year is I think it's Con from yeah. Right now the Rookie of the Year is Concanipple for Charlotte. He's been playing really well. Some of the best, one of the best rookie seasons in the NBA for sure. Going on today in the NFL, uh, going on right now in the NBA. The Pistons beat the Hawks, so they got that losing streak snapped. The Wizards beat the Bucks, got that losing streak snapped. Currently, the Cavs are destroying the Pacers. Pacers, when going into next year, they'll get Halliburton back and a top 10 pick. And like I said earlier, this draft class looking insanely good. Um, Hornets are right there with the Nets. 96, 91 Nets lead at the moment. Clippers and Heat are getting business done, despite Kawhi Leonard being back. 116 to 92. Bulls and Magic. Right now, the Magic are winning that one, 87 to 85. Um, and then right now, the Nuggets are beating the Mavericks. Um, Cooper Flag's been on a bit of a run right now, putting his case towards being Rookie of the Year. I think he had 35 the other night. Rockets are right now right there with the Jazz, and then to end off today in the NBA, the Suns will take on the Lakers. So that's all we got. Sorry we haven't been on here in 2 weeks, I believe. Like we said, schedule and everything. But yeah, like, share, be blessed, and we'll try to get on here more. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is our only episode for the month of December. So or at least worst case, we only get stuff on Mondays. But we try with scheduling. It's not too easy to schedule, and then of course you got natural stuff with us being tired and all that. But yeah, that's all we got. Episode 14, I believe this one is. So we'll see you guys later.